Good evening, everyone. This is the Ayer Conservation Commission meeting. It is Thursday, January 11th, 2024. Commissioners in attendance this evening are Jeremiah as member, George Bacon as member, Jessica Gino, member clerk, Mark Phillips, vice chair, myself, John Schmallenberger as chair, Heather Hampson as our conservation agent. Do we have confirmation of agenda?
Yeah, there's no changes.
No changes. Motion to approve the agenda as written.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously. Due to unforeseen circumstances, we will put off the approval of meeting minutes for December 14th, 2023 until our next meeting. Okay, public input. If there's anyone in attendance who would like to, that's not on the agenda, who would like to offer a comment or a question, now's the time. Everybody's here for business?
Yep.
All right. Then we shall move on. Request for determination of applicability, Town Department of Public Works, Snake Hill Road at Pierce Ave Drainage Outfall Improvements. Good evening.
Good evening.
State your name for the records if Jessica Gino doesn't know them.
I'm Matt Hernan. I'm the town engineer.
Welcome.
And I'm Delaney Dion, the civil engineer.
Nice to see you again.
How do you spell your last name?
Dionne.
D-I.
Would you just give us a little rundown on your project?
Sure. It's kind of borders on a maintenance activity and project. It's really at this intersection of Pierce Road and Snake Hill Road. We have two drainage pipes that outlet into Sandy Pond. There's a little bit of land between the end of the pipe and the pond. So over time, a lot of drainage sediment has basically built up over there, and so much so that it's actually blocking the pipes. So water's actually not draining properly through the drain inlets on the street. So what DPW is proposing is to construct a proper outfall. Outfall being like, basically what we're proposing is some riprap, some drainage stone between the pipe ends and the pond so that water can drain properly and not erode the land, and also prevent the condition that's currently there.
How much distance between the pond and the pipe? Ish.
It's, I would say about 30 feet, 25, 30 feet. So it's very close.
I thought it looked like it was on the bank side of the shore. Oh. Yeah. Oh, from that picture, it looks like it's really pretty. You sure it's that far away?
Yeah, so this is actually mapped fairly accurately.
Yeah.
I was just out there today just to verify it. So the pipe ends are pretty much right at the edge of this street. There's a little bit of a drop off.
So all you're doing is removing sediment, taking out some material to be able to put riprap in?
Pretty much, more or less. So also obviously, because we have to get in there, get some equipment to construct there, just be some limited land disturbance in that time. So we provide erosion controls as needed just to make sure we leave the area as it is.
Yep.
And better, obviously.
Anything else?
No?
Pretty much it. Jen, you have any questions? Ms. Gugino?
Filter fabric underneath the riprap?
Yeah, that's part of our proposal, so I think we actually have it on here on the sketch that Delaney drew for us.
Take it.
Yep.
And how long, it should be like a day project?
It should be a day project.
Any questions or comments, Mark? George?
Does the pipe need cleaning?
We haven't, usually for the pipes, we camera inspect inside just to verify if there's, breaks that need repair, or if there's dirt built up. We haven't done that yet, but that's a good point. That might be worth before we actually, assuming we get approval to do the outfall improvements, it might make sense to do the cleaning just because we'd be pushing dirt back to where we're cleaning. So
Yeah.
that's something we could put on our to-do list.
Addition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can add that.
If you did an inspection and you found some issues, then you'd go back to repair, or would you just kind of say, all right, hold on, we're gonna have to rethink this?
I think it would just be small repairs. I mean, the worst I think that could happen is that there's a crack in the pipe, so we'd have to dig. I don't think the pipe's very deep, obviously, so it'd be just a shallow dig in the road, new piece of pipe and backfill and pave. But hopefully that's not the case.
Yeah, cross our fingers.
Any idea of the age of it?
So our drainage records aren't great in this town, so most streets, we don't really have an exact age or even, an engineering drawing of our drainage. We've actually gone around town, mapped everything ourselves and put it into the map that we provided. So that's really just us going out and not so much having good plans to begin with. So we're not sure.
Heather, you have any comments?
The only comment is I had to investigate something else out in that area last week, and I went and looked at it, and I don't know if you guys driving by it, if you've noticed, but it's quite a bit of a divot right there. It would,
A drop, you mean?
yeah,
Oh.
where this outfall is, it's quite a big hole right there. You can see it just driving by. So to leave it would actually cause more erosion at this point. So something needs to be done no matter what. So this would actually be a vast improvement to what's there now.
Yep. Any other discussion? Motion to issue a negative determination on whatever it is. Snake Hill Road drainage outfall improvement.
With that one condition.
The condition, with the one condition of the inspection.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Passes unanimously.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for doing it.
Get you like a pen.
Hey, Heather. Delaney, she works for the DPW too, right?
We have a little engineering department now. That's what time I started. She just was on maternity leave for a while.
Our next item this evening is a request for determination of applicability, McCarthy Engineering, 42 Park Street. Proposed redevelopment with parking area and stormwater system.
Good evening.
Could you all please state your names for the records?
Justin LeClaire, McCarty Engineering.
Okay.
Ally Goldenack, the applicant and purchaser of 42 Park Street.
Welcome.
Thank you. So,
Please give us an overview.
yeah, absolutely. So, we went in front of the planning board for site plan approval and stormwater permit for the project here at 42 Park Street. It consists of redeveloping the existing two-family dwelling that is, in this point, in disrepair. as well as a 2,000 square foot addition with an associated parking field located in the back, as well as some parking located along the side as you come into the site. So through that planning board process, we went back and forth with the planning board, the engineering department. We received our approval with them on November 28th for the site plan approval as well as stormwater. Comments we did receive back from the towns, including the conservation department, included requesting an RDA with the commission for the work associated with the buffer zone and the associated drainage stream here. So if you look at the plan, on the left-hand side is the existing rail yard. There's a culvert that runs from underneath the railroad, comes onto the site, and then continues to the adjacent parcel, and I believe eventually gets down to the fire station.
Down to the large wetland bit by the fire station, so it all connects, that's why it becomes jurisdictional.
So, as you can see on the plan, the majority of our work for the parking field, as well as a portion of the additions within the 100-foot buffer zone. That's why we're here tonight in front of you. Stormwater-wise, we're proposing an underground infiltration system, as well as catch basins and water quality units. Engineers reviewed this, found it to be in full compliance with both the Mass Stormwater Handbook as well as their local regulations.
By
With-
engineers, you mean the town?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, sorry. With that, we're doing off-grading, everything will be loam and seeded. I'd just like to reiterate that this site has been developed. There's an existing house, driveway. There's a large sewer easement on the back, actually where our discharge is. We're discharging back to the drainage swale where all the water goes now. So we're not changing drainage patterns. We're providing the water quality treatment. We're mitigating the pre-post. And like I said, this site is it is developed. So we're just redeveloping it and, in our opinion, making a better condition than what's there. So if the commission has any questions, happy to answer them.
You're keeping that existing structure?
Yep, so we've gone back and forth with the plan board multiple times, but that existing structure is going to be fully gutted and renovated as part of the construction of the addition. So there's actually a full set of architecturals that have been finalized and I believe are being submitted to the building department within
Once we receive the
final approvals. Yep.
And the business is going to be,
So the first floor is going to be commercial. It's actually going to be a salon. And the second floor is 3 apartment buildings, correct?
Yep.
And each one 2-bedroom.
2-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
That's just the addition, or does that include the existing?
It's going to be part of the existing as well. So,
So spread out over the new and existing.
yep.
Thanks.
what is, I'm not clear on the term parking field.
Just the parking spaces. So when you look at this plan, you pull into the drive aisle. There's the 2 handicap accessible parking spaces at the side of the building, and you drive around the back, and then there's additional parking stalls on the back side. So it's just the parking lot.
It's paved.
Yeah. Yep. Paved, curbed, catch basins to an underground infiltration system.
And all that is new, all that.
Yep. That'll be all brand new.
And how many square feet of impermeable surface is that going to be?
That don't have.
That's my question. Increases.
So there is an increase of impervious. So building's 2,000 square feet. Footprint, parking driveway. I would actually have to get you the right number. It is within our drainage report, which we did submit. What I can speak to is based on the increase of impervious, that infiltration system mitigates the pre-post rates, so the amount of flow leaving the site. It's a reduction, and we're treating what is the 1-inch water quality volume, so that's 1 inch times our total post impervious.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
but I can definitely give you the finite number of impervious.
Pretty close. Questions, George?
No.
Mark?
No, I think I'm okay right now.
Jen?
John kind of asked this, but I just want to make sure I'm understanding. So you said the site is already fully developed, but it's not paved.
It's not fully paved, so it's cleared. There's a building.
There's already been disturbance.
Yeah, it's
just-
already been disturbed.
Okay.
There will have to be additional disturbance to install this.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because I don't know if you're familiar with the site, if you drive by, because you really can't see behind the red house. But
No, I
when you go, there's a truck parked on one side, a dumpster, and it's just a bunch of sumac back there. So, yeah, it's hard to tell, or not sumac, but Japanese knotweed. So it's hard to tell what exactly, which is, I think, how this drainage got missed. I luckily found it once on the GIS. Didn't find it the second 2 times, found it a 4th time, printed it and submitted it like, no, it's there. I swear it's there, I found it.
And we did have Mary Ann DePinto of Three Oaks Environmental is our wetland consultant. She did go out on site and find this as well, and her response was, yeah, there's a lot of knotweed.
Yeah.
So it was this didn't get picked up until later, and by the time that the surveyor was able to go back out, actually locate the drainage swale, planning board had approved the project. So if we would have known that this was there sooner, we would have been in front of the commission concurrently with the board.
Yep.
So there is an existing drainage swale way in the back?
Yeah.
Because it's drainage, but when you look at my GIS, it comes up as like an actual, so it ends up being a drainage. I don't know if it created a brook or a stream, but it's due to drainage because of how everything's graded on site, and it does then just flow directly all the way into the wetland behind Dunkin' Donuts and the fire station. So it does all the way connect all the way through.
Yeah, and again, part of it is there's a stone culvert at the railroad. So it probably picks up the drainage on the other side of the railroad, puts it under, comes across the property, and that's how they're said ultimately gets to the wetland down by the fire station.
It doesn't fall in the floodplain though, which is good.
Any other questions, Jen? No. Jess?
How much are you doing a basement in the addition, or?
So it's going to be a
It's going to
crawl
be a crawl
space.
space
Yeah.
for the addition.
It'll be a what?
A crawl space.
Crawl space,
Yeah.
okay.
On the new?
On the new, yeah. So the existing basement's going to stay with the existing structure. The addition will have a crawl space. There is a net import of material on site. As you could probably tell, we're bringing everything up. The main reason being is based on testing for the infiltration system. Groundwater was a little bit higher than what we had anticipated for the soils. So we had to raise the system up just a little bit, which brought everything up a couple feet.
Yeah.
It's about 1,700 cubic yards of material total, but that's unadjusted, so it doesn't account for pavement, the full excavation of the foundation. It's just our estimate.
So, I don't know, would this be a question for Heather? With that amount of some digging and bringing in material, I don't see a problem with the project, but should it be a notice of intent?
That was my thought when I saw the plan come through. I was like, oh wow, that's a lot more than I anticipated.
That was my initial.
So I was like, oh, well, we'll continue with the RDA. I mean, there's no filing fee for that, right? And if it comes down to it, then if we have to issue a positive determination that requires a notice of intent, then that was just how it would go. But when we first spoke, I said, oh no, it should just be, I didn't see the plan, and then once I saw, I was like, oh, well, yeah, well, we'll just keep going with that. It doesn't hurt anything. You know what I mean? It may delay delay approval by, a meeting or two, but it doesn't hurt to keep this one and have everyone see it first, because, yeah, I was surprised when I saw the plan. It's like, oh, I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we submitted it and then DEP was going to know what they would say if we just approved it like this either. So it just gives the commission a little more oversight, I guess, on the project as it is. I mean, as it is working with the DPWs I have been, I'd be overseeing the stormwater anyway on that part of it. So, but.
And I did want to make mention of that as well as part of the stormwater permit approval. In our conditions of approval, we do have to submit weekly reports to engineering for the stormwater, because the site is under an acre of disturbance, so it does.
You get NIPD's permits. You got to do the SWIP reports, which is every quarter inch of rain and once a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's with the town, so there would be oversight, because I'm assuming you would be able to review those as well, and if you had any issues, you could bring it up to engineering.
Yeah, I mean, that's just an issue of that. There's a difference of that. And I don't have any jurisdiction on that. That's a planning board, whereas if the Conservation Commission, I mean, it's RDA, we still do, it's up to them, but
Yeah,
as far as that goes.
but the project will be monitored
And-
weekly.
Yeah, and then just a matter of, the exact amount of clearing and added pavement prior to any sort of decision too would probably be beneficial.
So the only clearing that's occurring is actually outside of the 100-foot buffer, where there's an existing tree line here pretty much with the drainage swale, and our grading is all outside of that tree line. So we're not disturbing the tree line any further within the buffer zone. There's just a little additional clearing, like I said, it's outside the 100, but up by the road. We're just a little bit of off grading to make it work. So where we be bringing in the material and doing the off grading,
Is to build the site up.
yeah, to build the site up, we'd loam and seed that. But again, it's already within an area that's been disturbed and cleared.
Yeah.
So we're not worsening that condition either.
Have any plans for any type of landscaping, plantings?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. As part of the full set that was submitted, there's layout materials, a full grain drainage, this is kind of a little bit of everything that you could see, but there is a full landscape plan that actually you didn't ask for native species on
Sure
it,
did.
and we did revise the landscaping plan to include native species, full lighting plan, erosion control plan.
Yeah.
There is a full set that was submitted and approved.
And the knotweed will go away?
And
We can condition that part of it on our end.
I would say anything that is within that limit of work that we're doing, definitely. And if the commission would like to have a condition to make sure that the invasive species are removed, we'd be amenable to that.
Just smother it for a couple of
It
years.
just, even for the sake of my client, and that'll be a future issue anyway, so
Sure.
it would be ideal to remove that.
Do you know you can eat it?
I did not.
He likes to tell people that.
I do, I really do.
Do you cook it?
I never have. When it's little, you can get the little bit, and it tastes like rhubarb.
Oh boy.
You can report back and let us know.
Yeah, you can-
Not me, but I definitely know people
If you want to
who
come
could
try
try it.
some.
it's not all bad.
But no,
Okay.
that's a fair condition.
Okay. Anyone have an interest in seeing this before we make a decision?
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I do.
George?
Sure. I've been there,
You've been there
yeah,
Been there, done
recently?
a couple of years ago.
A couple years ago. Jess, you want to go down and take a look?
Yeah.
Can we go set something up to go look
Yeah,
at the property
absolutely.
before we do anything else?
Yeah.
Beforehand, any other discussion, any other questions before we,
I'm still on the fence as an NOI, so.
yeah.
We could go see it in the meantime and
Yeah,
then
that would help.
see the NOI at the next meeting, so
Yep.
it's not as delayed.
The only thing is Saturday is gonna be a
It's supposed to
drench.
be. No one said Saturday. We don't have to do Saturday.
Okay.
Just in the morning, it's supposed to clear up by noon.
And it's a long weekend too, so.
Be a good time to see the water.
It would be.
I'll pull up the weather.
No, it's just, yeah, some of the news today would be done by 9, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, this should be a quick one. I'll hold your umbrella.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Don't trust her.
I just wanna make sure that's in the minutes, though.
It's in there.
This Saturday, would that work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
What do you say, 10 o'clock, just to make sure, 9 o'clock? What do you want to do?
Yeah, we can do 10 and,
10?
I said, it'll probably be less raindrops, based on what George is
Does
telling
that
us.
work for you?
Well, then we could see that drainage swale in process.
I don't think anything works.
Yeah, I would just have to be done by like 10:30. Like I wouldn't be able to stay, but that's plenty of time.
Feel free to go earlier if you want.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll go right now.
A little scary at night, I don't recommend.
Yeah. So 10 o'clock on Saturday, that date is
11th, 12th,
13th.
13th.
13th, 10 o'clock. We shall meet you there.
If you loop.
Yes.
Right next to Jimmy.
Yeah, can we park on the property or how does that?
I don't see any issue. Ample room, so.
Come in from Brook or just come in off Park?
You can come in on park,
Okay.
yeah. And you can drive all the way down the park, or you can park on the, when you enter, doesn't matter.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
Thanks.
Awesome.
we'll see you then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Take care.
All right. Next item
Oh, yeah, shoot, yeah.
is discussion of pond treatment request for quotes 2024.
Yes. So I drafted it real quick. I didn't send it out from last year's, changed the dates, obviously. Made it the deadline the first, I think, Friday of March, which was the same as last year's. I did modify it slightly to have more push on Flanagan Pond, as stated in the pond report. If you'd like me to send it out to you all to review before it goes out, we can do that. I was just keeping the agenda the same from last year.
Last year, yeah.
But they did go out around, I think, after the second meeting in January, so. But I did start drafting that, and it's basically all I did. I kept it similar to last year, but I did change the, to have it more concentrated on the Flanagan Pond as suggested in the pond report.
Okay. Can we add something about that possible?
The investigation of the Phragmites along Pond Meadow, I can add that. I was thinking about that. I can add that to it.
Oh, on Pine Meadow Pond?
Pine Meadow,
Pond Meadow,
yeah.
yep.
You sent out the report,
Yes, I did.
so it's in my mailbox, but my COVID brain must not have seen it at the time.
Yeah, trust me, I've had COVID, and it takes months to get rid of that.
What?
It takes months to get rid of it. No concept of time, the whole time.
I have a little bit of information related, it'll only take me an hour, go over, on the Littleton experiment with
Oh, yes,
geoharvesting.
Oh,
yeah.
Or
that would be interesting.
Yeah,
Yes, and I have some information on hydro raking, too.
hydric, yeah. Okay, so recap. 2022, they spent $38,800 to do 2 lobes on Spectacle Pond. Okay,
To what?
Two loads.
2 little
Oh, okay.
Oops.
Do we have like
Shallow
acreage at
areas.
all, or what? Acreage, like,
don't know the acreage. It's a 70-acre pond, but they just did the north lobe and south lobe, so little inlet areas, not
okay,
big.
okay. 38,000.
38, well, 39 really, because
Okay.
additional 400 to transport it to Dirt Doctor. So they budgeted for this last year for 55,000 to add on Long Pond and also remove water chestnuts on another pond. What was that pond? I don't have it down. Anyway, so they put out a bid for with their budget of 55. The only company that does this is C&D Underwater Maintenance, which I think is in Connecticut. They came back with a bid of 99,800. 41,000 plus for Spectacle Pond, 27 plus for Long Pond, and then the other pond they wanted to get the water chestnuts from was Doleful Pond, 31,000. So they axed that one. So then they wound up adding on a little bit of treatment on Lake Mattawanakie. And that, I think, added on about 10,000. So what they wound up spending was, I think, about 78,000 or more for this last year's treatment. And so they did that in late July on Spectacle Pond. I thought it was interesting that the fanwort came back strong a few weeks later. So they were then recommending herbicide treatment on Spec Pond for this year because of that. On
They the treaters or they the
On committee.
the Clean Lakes Committee, they observed the
Okay.
fanwort.
Okay.
This is Leon is on that committee. Leon Weaver. Anyway, fanwort came back strong a few weeks later. So this year they're put out a bid that included herbicide treatment for Spec Pond, not the eco harvesting. On Long Pond, they did a limited area. They found that they had planned to have it take care of the muck islands that were all over the place. And then they found that the harvester could not deal with most of the muck islands. They were too thick and heavy to remove with this harvester. Mattawanakie, they broke one of the machines, but they got something done. Their proposed budget now for the 2024 treatments is $190,200. They get this funded through the Enterprise cell phone, Spec Pond cell tower. But they're getting pushback from the Littleton Electric Light and Water Department because the state has said, okay, the mandate for use of those funds should be for the primary purpose of protecting clean drinking water. The other thing I thought that was interesting was they put regarding eco-harvesting, in many cases, the treatment removed the top part of the plants while leaving lower sections in place.
Oh, okay.
So the whole part of the purpose is to pull it up from the roots and then you've done a better job removing it, but it's not necessarily doing that. Anyway, with a budget of $190,000, some of that's split with Westford for Forge Pond. There had
Yeah,
more.
Mattawanakie, Forge
Yeah.
Pond, yeah.
So between, unless they wait late enough in the season, like August, you're going to have a regrowth of something like fanwort faster. And they were not that concerned with the impact on the town beach on Long Pond. It just wasn't their concern. So anyway, I was looking through their minutes. I admit with confirmation bias, but some of it just didn't look. It's just way out of our budget.
And limited success.
Yeah, it seemed. Well, especially with Spec Pond was their pilot project in 2022, and then they did it again in 2023, and the fanwort came back there fast. So now they're recommending herbicide treatment this year for Spec Pond. So
It doesn't help if
Zero harvesting.
No, yeah, they're just doing the harvesting on Long Pond and Forge Pond, but not on Speck Pond. It's good.
And that doesn't help with the problem that we have with everything on the bottom of the pond, because if it's just cutting it from 2 feet, it doesn't do anything. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mentioned the last meeting that one of the commissioners that was in an email chain of mine did hydro raking, so it ended up being the town of Peabody. So I contacted them to find out how much it cost to do the hydro raking of one of their ponds. I looked at the pond on the GIS. It's got a lot of lobes and stuff to it. It's not a regular, just easy open pond. So this could be why it was so much. But it was 190,000 plus, and they went over budget. 190.
Okay.
They went over budget due to police detail. I don't think we'd have that issue on Flanagan, but we might to get access to it. I don't know. And they are proposing a second pond this year at a budget of 240. Yeah, and the only company that they found that does, because they asked if they had bids and what they got, the only company that does it is Solitude.
Solitude does it?
Yeah, is the only one.
200 and what?
240 for Brown's Pond in Peabody, if anyone wants to look it up. That's the pond they're doing this year. I did look at the hydro raking to see, like, on their website to see what the depth they can do it at, and it's as low as 18 inches of depth. So it would be something they could do on Flanagan, but before we'd be doing that, I would think we'd have to test the sediment, and I don't know if that's something they would do prior to, before we would dig it all up type of thing. But just in case, we do go to town meeting with another warrant article for chemical treatment, those are the numbers we've come up with so far. Nothing's less than 100,000.
So Peabody to do 2 ponds, 240, 344.
It was, and they got it from CPC, so they were able to fund the first pond, the 190 through CPC. I can only imagine trying to go to CPC with that kind of request.
But so Peabody,
Annually.
they're
Yep.
like 430,000 to do the 2
Two
ponds? Okay. And the problem with CPC, we got pushed back because we did use it to catch up on Flanagan Pond many years ago.
Yeah.
And I think there's several members that protested.
Yeah, it's something that's gonna have to get done at some point. I just don't
Yeah.
know. That would have to be, I don't even know if we could do it as a capital item in a following year.
Yeah.
It's not something we could look at for this.
And CPC can't be maintenance.
No. So,
Yeah.
Wow.
but just so you guys have an idea, that I was shocked when I heard that number. I was
Yeah.
like, what? That's insanity. So I read that email like 4 times to be like, that can't be right.
Okay. Well, we're going to draw straws to see who gets to go up in front of town meeting and present these numbers.
I don't
FYI.
know if we're gonna, I think there's enough money in the budget for treatment. We'll have to see what the RFPs come back with, that I don't think we're gonna have to have a warrant. We might not have to have a warrant article, but we'll see.
Yowza, that's eye-opening, huh? And how long does that last? How long is the?
Well,
the treatment?
it lasts 2 or 3 years. It'll last a couple years. So because you're taking everything from the ground
Yeah.
now, it says that it will last up to 3 years.
Is that guaranteed?
I don't know. I have to see I don't know what their contract would state.
Yeah.
We should lead with this information at town meeting and then be like, but we found a cheaper option. You're welcome.
What we've been doing all along.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I mean, I
That's
can
insane.
contact the geo-harvesting company that the Clean Lakes
C&G
used, just to
Underwater.
see what they would do for, what they have an idea for a quote on to do ours. Because if it's anywhere close to the 100, I would rather do hydro raking than that.
Yeah. But C&D also, it was 4,500 to transport
transport
their
from-
equipment up here and set up, and another 4,500 to break it down and
Send
send
it back. So it'd be something you're like, hey, let's
Mobe and demobe.
9,000.
Get together with Littleton.
get together with Littleton and do it at the same time. Would be cheaper at that point.
Yeah.
But you said the eco-harvest
It's
only takes the top.
No, they're supposed to pull from the root, but that's part of the advantage is it removes all the stuff, but they said in many cases, the treatment removed just the top parts of the plants.
Yeah, so
Broke
that's
it
the thing,
off.
that's what we get to, I
Do they
think.
come back and fix it?
Yeah, so
Like,
that's
what's
why
the
you gotta do the
guarantee
raking.
there?
Yeah, because it would take that sediment
Yeah.
off, so hopefully
Yeah.
Flanagan would be
Okay, cool.
deeper, but again, I don't know if there'd be any guarantee on that.
But you said the pond or lake or whatever in Peabody was about the same size as Flanagan,
Well,
just with a lot of
the
fingers?
Browns Pond that they're looking at doing seems to be bigger than, I mean, I could pull it up, bigger than, Flanagan. It's hard to tell, I can't put them side by side.
Okay.
If I could, the first one they did had a lot of jets and lobes and stuff, and it wasn't just a perfect round circle, whereas I feel like Flanagan's doesn't have all those.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, it's probably closer to their other one, and it's probably bigger. As far as, I don't know. I didn't look to see the acreage to see if they were similar
Okay.
in size or not. But you would figure we're looking at, even on the low end, we're probably at least 100,000, whereas right now we spend, what, 12?
Right.
Yeah.
To do all of our ponds, not just one?
Yeah, so if it lasted for 3 years and,
But this is only to do one.
Hmm?
This is to do one, whereas right now we're treating 3. So we'd still have to do something for the other 2.
yeah, yeah. So we could always,
So it's now a matter of fact of just, okay, now that I know, looking at the funding sources for, I hate to say it, another year out, but
Yeah.
that's what we're looking at. I just never in my million days would have thought it would have been that much.
Well, it's good information
Yeah.
to, like,
I was thinking
Jen
maybe
said to-
50, 60, I never would have thought it'd be 100,000 plus.
The Browns Pond?
Yeah, it doesn't show the label, it's on the border of wherever you go out. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Browns Pond.
Yeah. And it seems to me like it would be almost similar to size to what Flanagan is, but I don't know what the acreage is.
and I think, look at the agenda for, Littleton Clean Lakes for December was going to discuss their 5-year plan discussion, including appeal for funds from the select board, but they have not yet posted those minutes, so. Anyway. I would probably say, though, if we did, just to keep, well, might consider just asking if we needed 10,000 just to keep,
Yeah, just
for
keep it going.
contingency, to
Yeah,
keep it.
yeah,
as a
I
regular.
did that, and
Yeah.
I said I was gonna do this under updates too, is to think about if there's any other warrant articles we might need for Springtown meeting, because that warrant has now opened, so.
so you all want to see what Heather wrote up, or are you just gonna, want to see it in advance before we,
Yeah, I'll send it out tomorrow,
okay. Very good.
but I'll add the investigation of the fragments along, find that up. You do see them when you walk, I don't know if you see them when you go by in a boat, and that could be the problem.
Yeah, I don't know, I've never been in a boat.
I've never been to out there either.
Anything else about?
About the pond treatment, no.
Yep, okay. Conservation Office updates?
So, updates, obviously, I mentioned that the investigation for the hydro raking and the cost of that. There's been quite a bit of beaver activity over the last, especially last week, phone calls that have come in regards to beavers taking down trees on Sandy Pond.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you've noticed that. I went and investigated it to see, because there is a couple that have wire wrap around them close to the town beach. So that was the person's complaint, was, well, we should just wrap more of them. And I'm like, okay, well, let's see how many are coming down. Because I know a complaint came in, I think, before Christmas about beaver activity, saying to possibly blocking the culvert. So I went out, I counted about 5 trees, but I didn't go over to I walked, but when I drove, I didn't notice. But when I walked, I counted 5 on both sides, some on Flanagan, some on Sandy Pond. Nothing in the crossing under the road. I didn't see anything.
Are they totally destroyed trees now? or-
There was they were. There were young trees. There was a couple that might have been just chewed up. I did mention to the DPW, and they will put wire wrapping around them as long as they know they're town trees, and I just need to tell them where. I don't know if it's something if we're all interested in doing to protect what few trees are still out there. There isn't many along that side of the road.
Yeah.
And there's not many that are healthy either.
Yeah.
There's a couple that are dead. Well, they can't take the dead ones. No, they don't take the dead ones. They eat the good ones. But I guess the gentleman that called about it, he said it was more closer to the Wright Road side of Sandy, and I didn't walk that far, so I didn't see any, but I think that's all private property at that point, so it's something I can really do. But it might be worth putting something out on the town's Facebook page to state that if anybody does see beaver activity on their property, they can put wire around their trees to protect them. They're allowed to do that.
I did that years ago.
Yeah, so it might be, worth putting that out there to people that they can do that. I also got, the same day, I got a complaint about beaver activity on Sunflower Court. It's off of Loon Hill, it's the condos that are up there. There's a conservation path that goes through there that goes to Audubon property, I guess.
Oh.
That's at the condo association land. That's what I can tell. The assessor's records is weird over there. But there's quite a bit of beaver activity up there, and they're basically blocking whatever beaver deceiver that's up there that's not maintained by us. I don't know who maintains it. That's all plugged with sticks, with mud for the most part. It's not even, they've taken some trees down, but I don't know where they've done with them, because the dam they've built up is just muck, and it has flooded that walkway a little bit. So I did tell the woman that came that it appears to be condo association land, that they can, hire someone to trap them. It is open trapping season. You just have to get permits through the proper place. I think Conservation and Board of Health, I don't know if they can say it's a health and safety issue, but they can try. And to, clean up whatever they need to, the beaver deceiver, get somebody in there to maintain that. But they have been very active, and the only thing I can figure is we had so much rain earlier, and they liked it, so they're trying to make it back to that from the summer. I don't know, but it was crazy last week with beaver activity.
I don't know where they are on Sandy Point.
I don't know, but
Where do they take all this stuff?
I don't. They took them down, so I don't know where they put it. There's got to be some sort of lodge or something that they're adding to.
They
Like
are
put in
lodges.
That house that's on the corner, the one that's up for sale. You open the door, stash it in there at night.
But the beavers have been extremely active this fall and winter so far.
Yeah.
So we're working on that, but I might do that, and then I can ask the tree warden and DPW to do something along the causeway of Sandy Pond and Flanagan, just to protect the last few trees that are out there.
Yeah. Those things, they came over, I don't know how they got to it, but we have lilac bushes
Yeah.
on Snake Hill, and they started eating those.
Really?
You want to see Marilyn get mad? You should have seen her. we got this area is huge. We got all wired off. Oof. It wasn't pretty. So if we don't have it wired, it's gone.
Yeah, and I think just putting that out there to people to let them know that they can wire it off to keep the beavers from doing that, because they have been pretty active in the area. So I think I'll work on putting some sort of post out for the Facebook page, at least on that. I don't think we'll read it, but maybe someone will see it, and that would help on that end.
We used wire that was, I think, it's either 30 or 36 inches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wrapped a tree.
Yeah.
At one point, on one tree, you could see where they had pulled it down.
Yeah.
And were eating the little things 3 feet off the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Like
chicken
that's-
wire would be strong enough. I think you'd have to use some sort of
I used fencing.
livestock wire.
Yeah, I didn't use chicken wire. It was fencing.
Yeah, livestock fencing, yeah.
But they can reach pretty far. Anyhow. Oh well, what else we got?
I've been working with the DPW over the last couple of weeks, going through some of the private stormwater systems and making sure that some of those open permits are in compliance. That's just been a process on that end as well. Air Solar 2 as well. They are no longer have their contract with Epsilon for the environmental monitoring ended at the end of the year. They called and asked, Epsilon called and asked if I wanted them to continue it because it's written in the order of conditions. I said yes, that they needed to. It's still in their conditions. It is still open, and they are reluctant to let myself on site to monitor it. It gated a weekly inspection on the site. So they sent that request out. I guess Rohit's been out of the country. We haven't heard anything. The last time the monitor was out was when I was on vacation. The stream crossing had washed out due to the rain we had.
That big heavy rain?
The heavy rain we had the Wednesday before Christmas.
4 inches.
Yeah, so I sent that to Rohit to get an idea of when he was, get that cleaned up. And again, still haven't heard anything. I'm gonna try to get on site tomorrow and send another request to get that cleaned and see what happens. Because if he's out of the country, I don't know if he sees it, but again, that's not our.
They're reluctant to let you on site,
Yes,
but they don't have a certificate of compliance.
correct.
So they let you
want
on
me.
site?
They want me to ask for permission to go out on site. So if I email them and I didn't get, a solid yes, that's fine, then that's when they usually get sometimes they'll make a phone call and say something. So I try not to go out unless I hear that they know that it's like that they received email. So I'm just gonna go and they can call and then I'll know they saw that I was out there because they have the wildlife cameras on site.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in our order of conditions.
It is, yep. It is in the order with notification. It is in there.
Yeah.
How badly was it blown out?
Similar to what it was the last time.
Okay.
So if the erosion controls were there, whether it would have held it back, I don't know, because it is heavy rock.
Yep.
It was quite a lot of rain that one storm.
Yeah, it was. Well, and yeah, but it's again, it should be designed to withstand it.
But the thing is, we're probably going to be getting more.
That's, yes, in
Events like
that comment, I made that comment at a department head meeting because I was surprised on what little flooding there was, that I heard of little flooding on Wednesday. But the owners of the Devon's Plaza had come in. They were getting a river of water off of Shepley Hill down between their building and Karen's kitchen. And I drove by and there was, so
Clean water from Shepley's landfill.
it's one of these things. When I told them, I go, well, it's probably something you're going to have happen more often. Unfortunately, it's best to prepare for that. Whether it's, it's going to be heavy rain, sandbag that side of the property so that it doesn't get into the buildings or something. Because this is just what's going to happen. And I made that comment on Ayer Solar 2 last winter when it wasn't completed yet, that we just don't have the winters we used to. It's not a solid frozen ground and then the slow thaw and everything sinks in. It's just the ground thaws and freezes, it rains, it snows, and it becomes a muddy, watery mess.
Yep.
So that's it.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Anyone?
Oh, we do, one quick thing. We have 2 other RDAs for the next meeting. One quick one for Shelley Lane for a 3-season porch. Existing deck is gonna get extended to put a 3-season porch on. And then everyone's favorite question of the day, which is the detention pond at Canongate.
Okay.
They would like to clean that and make it, so they're coming for an RTA on that. It's technically a wetland.
It's considered a wetland now.
But it's detention pond, so
Right.
they're coming for that, so that we can get lots of questions on that one. That'll be the next meeting.
When it was installed, there was a maintenance plan?
That's what I asked, and there wasn't much of an answer on that because the person emailing me wasn't obviously on the condo association or living there at the time, so it'll be a good question to ask when they come before us for the RDA. it's not a lot of maintenance they want to do. It doesn't sound like dredging or anything like that. It's just mowing along the sides and cleaning some of the muckets, you know, which could be done by the rake for the most part, but.
It does turn such an iridescent green in the height of
Which,
summer.
oddly enough, I've dealt with this in Lancaster, if you put a pump on it, just some of those floating like little springs, it keeps
Move
the
it.
duckweed out and it'll
Yeah.
keep that, because it keeps the oxygen going. So these are all comments we can make when they come, but that's everyone's favorite, like, how is this a wetland? Question, and that's gonna be at the next meeting, so that'll be fun.
Okay. Something to look forward to.
We want to tell them to wait till they're done putting the sidewalk in, maybe?
Oh, yeah, no, well, they're just gonna do some maintenance to it, so we'll see what it is. It's not much.
Sidewalk? The
Sandy
sidewalk?
Pond.
But isn't that on the other side of the road? Or what side?
No,
Oh,
it's on,
the-
it's.
They're gonna do that and the parking on the wetland side
Yeah.
by Cannon Gate.
Any other updates from commissioners? Nothing at all?
I do want to complain that we got 16 lovely inches of snow and it's all gone.
No, isn't it so
How much?
sad?
16.
No, we got like 17 or 18 in Pepperell. It
16
was really
is awesome.
sad.
Well, my yardstick measured a solid 14 plus.
Yeah.
Then I saw something, WCVB put air at 16.7 or something like that.
Dunstable at like
Ground's
8.
supposedly 17 or something like that. I thought.
Dunstable about 18.
Yeah.
Wow,
Good to know.
I didn't think it
So-
was that.
I resent that it rained 2 days later.
I was so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was heartbreak.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I
Aye.
Passes unanimously.